Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics. In this video, we're going to talk about what makes the FN509 MRD family the best optics-ready system on the market. This, of course, is an opinion, but it's an opinion backed up by a very large sample size. I've seen and used and own quite a few of your manufacturer-specific, your OEM, if you will, optics-ready systems. There's a lot of guns out there that come from the factory ready to mount an optics system, and they're all pretty much proprietary. So everybody has their own approach to mounting the red dot. And there's a lot of great systems out there. And I personally believe that the FN509, their modular system for the mounting of optics, is superior to everything else. Not necessarily just because of the optic mounting system, but because of the totality of the gun that it's on. Because there are some optic mounting systems out there that the optic system is good, but the gun it's mounted on maybe needs some refinement, some aftermarket options to give it what you want. Now, this is more in regards to law enforcement than it is the average purchaser. However, the information is useful to both. The biggest issue with law enforcement is a reluctance with law enforcement agencies to purchase aftermarket parts or do aftermarket work on duty guns that are going to carry red dot optics. Specifically, they don't want to do milling because of warranty issues, and they don't necessarily want to do whole aftermarket builds or whole aftermarket purchases because of the warranty issues or some kind of belief in potential legal issues down the road. So what you're left with, if you're in law enforcement and you're going to be issued a gun, is you may be issued something that has an optic system that could be, well, in desperate need of update or attention to what you're ultimately going to need. With the 509, and just for full disclosure, I was part of the 509 program. I was brought in by FN to assist in development of the 509 and the 509 optics mounting system. So I do have a bit of a bias here. I'm also on FN's law enforcement staff, pro staff. So this video is not a review, it's just an informational of me offering my personal and my professional opinion. I stand behind my opinion that the 509 offers the best out-of-the-box optic mounting system on the market. Now I'm going to tell you why. First thing is options. Before we even get into the actual optic mounting system itself, the 509 family includes a compact, subcompact, a compact that called a mid-size, then you've got a full-size and a tactical model. So you've got 4 different options to choose from based on what size firearm you need. In fact, I'm going to do a specific video in the future just on the compact. The compact is somewhat unique in the fact that it's an optics-ready handgun out of the box, 12-round capacity, double-stack small, subcompact size, if you will, concealable firearm, and it includes an actual light rail, which is something that has been missing in some of the subcompact guns in the past, and it presents a very small footprint for someone who wants to conceal a smaller firearm. Moving on from there, you have the mid-size, which shares the same footprint as many of the common compacts you see, and then from there, you have their full-size handguns, which have what I like to call the European footprint, meaning a full-size frame and a shorter overall length. With red dots, sight radius isn't nearly as big of a deal unless we're using our backup iron sights. So overall, the firearms present a very ergonomic footprint as far as available sizes. You've got changeable back straps and other accessories you can adjust to fit the individual user, something you don't necessarily get from some of the other guns that are out there. And then we get to what makes the gun awesome, which is the optic mounting system. Out of the box, the MRD is going to be ready for pretty much any optic you're going to want to put on it. With the exception of a few of the newer optics that are coming out, which they will have plates available for, but you get a packet that has all the mounting accessories you need, all the different screws you need, all the plates, and changeable recoil bosses based on which optic you're going to use, but the optic itself still hard mounts to the slide as opposed to a plate and then to the slide. So you don't have as much of a risk of a cascade of failure in parts stacking tolerances, because the optic itself is still going to mount directly to the slide itself. The only changeable part is going to be those recoil bosses, and those are going to be optic specific. Now, I talked about this specifically some time ago when I did a review on the 509 system. But one of the things I've noticed, especially teaching my law enforcement red dot handgun instructor course, I see a lot of what officers are being issued. And they're being issued pretty much the legacy. We've been using X brand for years, so we're just going to buy their optic system without putting in the due diligence to make sure that their optic system is going to provide the best platform. Doesn't mean it's a bad gun, but it's a compromise of an optic mounting system because it was an afterthought. Whereas I know from personal experience that the 509 system was not an afterthought. It was specifically designed to be modular and forward thinking. For the non-LE purchaser, you're getting a gun out of the box, which is ready to go. You don't necessarily have to change the trigger or the magazine release or the slide release. And it's optics ready, so whatever optic you want to put on it is going to include the kit for that. Again, like I said, unless the optic recently came out and FN hasn't been able to provide a plate for that, but they are pretty quick about releasing plates for optics that are recent, so that it's going to be, if not the same day release, and it's going to be available very, very soon. This recently happened when the Aimpoint Acro came out. The plate from FN was available quickly, and you can get it now. There are a lot of features about the FN MRD family that endear me to the gun. One of the biggest ones is metal mags. I know it's a simple thing, and almost everybody has them. But the magazine design is reliable. The magazines are durable. And you're getting it with a magazine release, it's going to function reliably. And then, of course, there is the stock trigger, which the bane of my existence has been triggers, especially hinge triggers. The 509 is the only gun that has a hinge trigger that I actually like the hinge trigger, and it's also the only gun where I don't feel like I have to change out the trigger shoe. Generally, guns have a very curved, an extreme curve to the trigger surface, not something I like. The FN's curve is reasonable, it's subtle, and the hinge trigger system, the hinge trigger safety system, doesn't negatively interact with the trigger press regardless of what type of shooting I'm doing, and the trigger weight is very reasonable right out of the box. I don't feel like I have to try to lighten it, take 2 or 3 or 4 pounds out of it. That break is going to be crisp and clean and consistent from gun to gun. The MRD is, and probably will into the foreseeable future, continue to be the brand I would recommend, the system I would recommend for anybody who wants to get into an optics-ready platform without having to purchase aftermarket plates or wait on the aftermarket to provide solutions to address issues that the manufacturer didn't when designing their optics-ready system. So from LE to concealed everyday carry, you're going to get basically one-stop shop. You're going to be able to take it out of the box, mount your optic, zero it, and probably, especially for the more casual shooter, but even the more serious shooters, you're not going to have to make any significant changes to the system to give you a reliable, durable, optics-ready handgun. I'm Eric Count with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly.